Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about MyTEAM, the game mode, and why I put out the tweet yesterday that I did that said, I'm not sure if MyTEAM's coming back this time. I put this tweet out yesterday. It has 293 likes. That's a lot more engagement and likes than my Twitter posts generally get. You know what I mean? Like, it clearly resonated with a lot of people, me saying that, and I think there are a lot of people in the 2K community in the MyTEAM community who kind of feel the same way about the mode. It seems like the way it started this year is just a continuation of a lot of the things people didn't like about the last couple of years, and the things that are good about this year are not being maximized. In fact, they're being slowly, it seems like, chipped away at and taken away already, which makes me think it might get worse as the year progresses. Now, I do want to say, this is totally fixable, what is happening with the game right now, and I don't actually think the fixes are that complicated. The problem is, I don't think the fixes are gonna happen. That's the honest truth. I may make a video tomorrow, in fact, I think I'm going to, saying specifically what I would do to try to fix MyTEAM, in my opinion. And not just for the players, because I don't think it's just a player thing. It's a community, but it also is a business, and 2K is trying to make a lot of money, and I think they have made a lot of money off the community the last couple of years. I think in a lot of ways, this is our fault for allowing a lot of this, well, not our fault, but I think it is as a community, we've certainly contributed to 2K's greed by allowing it to happen and feeding into it in a lot of ways and enabling it by giving them more and more money and making stuff like this feel more and more doable to them, to where you now drop packs that have per pack 2.1% chance of pulling the second highest tier of card, and the highest tier of card gets pulled 6 times. You know what I mean? Like, how many Carmelos are up on the auction house? 1. How many Anthony Davises are up on the auction house? 2. There are 3 between the 2 most desirable players in the set up on the auction house. And there's 3 Becky Hammonds. There were more of her yesterday than there were Carmelos and ADs, but still, that might even be because, and I know people say 2K skews the odds. They might, and they probably do, but I also think people are keeping AD and Carmelo more than they're keeping Becky Hammond when they pull them. That being said, at the same time, I do think there is probably some skewing of pack odds going on here, and the fact that there is only 3 between Carmelo and AD, only 6 period up on the Xbox market is mind-boggling to me. And again, it goes to show how absolutely god-awful the pack odds are. And that's the first of many issues. Pack odds are absolutely atrocious, which means, and I think this is where it all almost stems from, and honestly where I think my video tomorrow in terms of what they can do better will start. It starts with pack odds, because pack odds will be the defining force as to whether or not people are really going to spend money on the game. The average player, the average Joe who has a normal job and a little bit of disposable income, but not a lot, but some disposable income that they have, and they can afford to spend $100 or $200 on packs a month. And not more than that. You know what I mean? They can afford to spend some money on the game they would have in the past. There are a lot of people like that in the game mode. That's been me in the past. I've been the person who spends $100 every few weeks on the game. It used to be on MT, and then they stopped allowing buying MT, which is completely fine. That was their choice. I don't think they handled it right in 2K23, to be fair, but that was totally their choice. And then I started using it on VC, you know what I mean? Because if packs are somewhat worth your money and you're gonna potentially get something good, I don't think people are going to be that hesitant on opening packs. It's the problem that you could open an entire $100 worth of packs and get 1 amethyst from the topper, and like on average, maybe you could easily open a box, get 1 diamond and 2 amethysts. That's your entire box for $100. You made 150,000 MT or 200,000 MT, and that doesn't go anywhere in this game. You got 1 card for $100, maybe 1 like decent wild gem card that you could buy after you sell everything with your MT, or 1 decent card off the auction house. But like, it's just not worth it right now. You don't get rewarded for spending your money on packs, and so people don't. And especially, I will say this, people don't spend less than $100 on packs anymore. I think that was intentional by 2K. There's nothing else that's worth spending money on these days. You know what I mean? If you spent $50 on 200k VC and opened a 20 box, you are scamming yourself. It's like, if you spend 50, you might as well spend 100, because you don't get a topper on the 20 bucks. The pack odds are just as trash, but you're only getting 20 of them instead of 50. It's like the value on spending 25 bucks for a 10 bucks or 50 bucks for a 20 is god awful right now. And so you realistically right now might as well just, like, it's either spend $100 or don't spend any to have a chance to pull something even half decent. You know what I mean? Ignoring the fact that you're not going to pull the top tier cards regardless because of how bad the pack odds are. There's nothing to spend your money on for less than $100 realistically that has any chance really of giving you anything good. And so that's the first thing, is that they push away their entire small spender market immediately. It's Pro Pass and nothing else that's even worth considering spending $10, $20, even $50 on in my team realistically. And the other problem that they've done alongside of it is the way that they did their pacing this year. That this year is not fixable, really. I mean, it's the one thing I will say is it's not that insanely aggressively ahead of last year's pacing. It certainly is. A lot of the cards that are available in these wild gems are cards that came out later last year and were very good later on in the game last year. But we are probably, I would say, overall in terms of pacing, not way further ahead than we were last year, but with a lot more depth to the cards. For example, if you look at people's teams right now compared to people's teams last year in season 1, I already have a 6'6" point guard. I already have a couple of elite bigs. Like, I have cards here that I was using a lot later in the year. Like, for example, Diamond Tyson Chandler. This is a wild gems card you can buy. I used this card in my main lineup in, like, I think January of last year, or maybe even February. I was using this card as my backup center for a good amount of time later on in the year last year. Like, this card is now available a lot earlier. You have these elite diamonds and elite different cards that are being used a lot earlier this year because they're attainable a lot earlier. And so what that has created is pacing that is really aggressive. And what that creates is pack drops that people aren't that interested in. Even this past Friday, Carmelo, AD, Dame, Brook Lopez, and Glenn, it's a deep pack drop, but I still wouldn't say it was that insanely exciting because of the amount of good wild gems there are. Guys like AD and Carmelo don't feel necessary at all because there's so many other good options at their positions. And so 2K, being too aggressive with their pacing, has put themselves in a bit of a hole here. This is where I personally think 2K next year should be starting with diamonds. They should go back to the 2K20, was it 23 or 24? When the pacing started, I think it was 24. When the pacing started with like the very best cards in the game were just a few diamonds, and most like pack drops were amethyst and then diamond, and weren't pink diamond until season 3. I would like to see them go back to that, no pink diamonds till season 3. I think slowing down the pacing would be really good next year, but unfortunately that's not something they can really do this year to improve this year's game. And then the other and the last thing that I think is really killing the game right now. Pacing is bad, pack odds are terrible, but the lack of anything to do on a day-to-day basis is also terrible. Now, they did drop off Set Shot Specialist yesterday. I will grind this at some point this week. This is worth doing, to be fair. That being said, that's about it in terms of what is Dirt doing from the last couple weeks in terms of what they've dropped. The Hoff Limitless a couple weeks ago was, but they've taken away all the free 10 boxes. They've taken away the Triple Threat Park special win streaks on Sundays. They've taken away anything being interesting at all that's dropping on Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and again, Sunday as well, because there's no special win streaks. So you have all these different days of the week now that don't have anything to do. You have all this Friday content coming out with nothing attached to it that's really worth doing, and then no other content drops throughout the week because there's no interesting challenges or groups or content at all dropping. Monday, there's like boring, terrible challenge group. Tuesday, super packs with a bunch of cards that people either aren't going to spend money to get or already have it, and again, super packs that killed the pacing as well with 2,000 cards. And then Wednesday, another terrible challenge group. Thursday, nothing. Friday, pack drop with horrible pack odds. Saturday, King of the Court, starts Friday. Sunday, nothing. That's the cycle right now. And that's why nobody's having fun. And that's why I feel like, really, at the end of the day, like, they've been doing this for years now. It is fixable this year, but they just don't seem that interested. And views are going down significantly, 100%. People are clearly less interested in the game mode. People are clearly very frustrated with it. And people are clearly already, honestly, kind of giving up on it. And so that's where I wonder, yeah, is the mode coming back? No, I don't think so. I think a lot of people are done for it long term. Like, I think it'll never be back anywhere close to what it was. But I also truly wonder, is 2K as of right now in season 1 of My Team making what they were thinking they were gonna make, and do they have a plan? Because right now, the average player playing this game is so frustrated at them because it feels like there is nothing to do on this game. Even though the seasonal content is actually very good in terms of the grindable season-long stuff from mode to mode. That's actually really good. And I give 2K a lot of credit for that. And I think if they would work a little bit on some of the other aspects of the mode, you could have a much healthier player base with a lot more people who are a lot happier on your game and a lot more people who are willing to spend at least some money on the game. They have alienated everyone but the whales, and even the whales aren't having fun. What's the plan? I don't know. I hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon. I appreciate y'all. Peace.